Oh, I'm not the only one.
Hello.
Hey, hi,
Happy
Carrie. How are
happy
you?
spring.
Yeah, happy spring. How you doing, man?
Fantastic.
Good. I gotta set up the other camera here, but
Am
man,
I
you're
am I
you're
the only one?
oh yeah, everybody's running late today. Who knows? Uh your last painting, that one you did was fabulous.
Thank you.
You
You
had
know, I've been painting for years. That's the first one I've ever truly loved.
you really hit, you know what you did? You stopped early enough.
Yes.
You had the right amount of strokes and you left it
That
instead of adding more strokes. And your the key strokes in the areas just were just so beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, it's less strokes, you know, more meaningful strokes instead of more strokes.
Right.
And that's
That
you hit it all with that one.
Thank you. It felt good. That's what's wrong with all my other paintings.
Well,
I do too much.
your drawing is very strong,
Oh,
and
thank you.
your colors are good, but sometimes you just get too many strokes. You just too many of the same strokes, and
Yes.
so it's really keeping everything a little calmer. Like the one we're going
Mm-hmm.
to do today, it's going to be a little chaotic, but then you're going to have to find some calm places to let the eye rest.
Mm-hmm.
So everything else jumps.
Right.
Not every all the part of the painting jumps because that just gets too much for the eyes to see. But that one was really loved it. Congrats.
Oh, thank you.
Now don't do any more of them for a while.
I know.
We can't
That's
have,
why
we
that's
don't want
why
to
we
go into
come
your
to Jim.
pet.
That's why we come to Jim. He's always so encouraging.
I know. And you guys are wonderful too. I feel like it's a little painting family.
Yeah, we try to be here, right? You know, that's part of it is the whole reason I just keep doing this because you guys are, it's nice to have good people to work with, and do
Yeah.
so. Uh, I enjoy
You're gonna paint anyway, so you may as well do it in front of us.
right, right. Oh yeah, last get a few things here set up, and we are ready to go.
I'm going to see what I can do today. My computer's acting up, so I'm at the mercy of my little bitty iPhone.
Oh, oh,
So I'll do as much as I can do.
okay, all
I'll
right, no
probably
problem.
take notes.
Well, you
Hello.
take notes on this one. This is going to be a good one. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah, it looks great.
everybody's showing up now. Now we got a full house. Okay.
Everybody wants to do a lion, and mine printed out real dark. So
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'd say mine probably did too, as you can tell. Um, but again, you guys, thanks for joining for the first one of this, the spring session. Man, we got some good ones for you guys on Saturday mornings. We're gonna be doing, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, and the rest of the animal critters out there. We're gonna be doing a few other things. We're also gonna be doing some landscapes and seascapes or an interior series. I just kind of I like to see how how a painting goes before I pick out another one to paint because I just don't want to you know pick out two of the same things in a row or I want to have some variety in what we paint. So we might throw in some a landscape in between and or like I said, the interior shot just to break up some things. I like to stay with animals on Saturday mornings because that's brings the studio you guys in a little bit. Sometimes I've had a couple of years where I've only had like 4 or 5 people, and that's why I'm pushing the animals a little bit more on Saturday mornings than I do on Monday nights. Just to clarify for you guys. But anyways, We got a good one. We do have a good one. I saw this. This came up on my my feed, my artist reference feed last year, and I said, "Wow, I don't paint that. I don't paint that at all." But I really liked everything about it. I said that could be a really good painting, but it's not really my style. But that's why I'm going to do it, because I got to try it, and we're going to work it out and see if it can, well, you got to try different things. So we'll be painting a lot of goofy things, a lot of birds too. I got some good stuff. But this lion, I love this lion. I love the lighting on him. The lighting, the background kind of goes together. It's very dappled light on him, which can be very tough to do, because it's you take a strand of hair there and fur there, and you kind of have to break it up in between in the middle of the stroke with some different colors, and so it can be very blotchy.
Yes, the photograph almost looks like a painting.
It really does. I know there's these guys out there who paint lions and stuff like that. I usually try to stay away from that kind of stuff. I'd really like to stay more in my wheelhouse of animals I know personally, or really have an affinity for. But yeah, I figured this just got to try it. We'll try it, and if I'm going to try it and suffer through it, I figured I'll get you guys to just suffer with me so we could split it up. So anyway, let me pull it up. But it could be fun. And it's good to see everybody here. Good, too. Congrats. Okay, I got a few shots here to pull up and see if they transferred over. I did send out a new one to you guys this morning. I don't know if you guys got it or even looked at your emails. But this is the original shot. As you can tell, there's a lot going on with fur and background light and details. And it can be overwhelming, really, to clarify things. But what I did, I sent you guys out this version. And well, this is what I'll be painting off of. This is what I'm thinking about. I did this morning on it in a little Photoshop where I took the background and we just blurred it out, took it out of the equation here. So it's not anything I want you to focus on light wise or anything like that. If we can keep it soft, the animal will stick out. We want the animal to come through easily, right? We don't want to have anything fighting too much with backgrounds coming in and overwhelming our lion here. So what I did is I just did a outline of the lion and just took the background, dropped it back, ran a few filters over it to soften it out, blur it out. So you don't have anything to concentrate back there. We're just going to be basically a little bit of soft, goofy stuff back there, more strokey. I see it more strokey, more energetic, back there. I think you can get away with. You can see how a lot of this stuff kind of radiates out from the lion. So maybe taking that into our tinting process of trying to get, some of that into the painting right away before we get, dive into fur and eyes and things like that. Okay. Grayscale, again, looking at it dark wise, we do have this is again with the other background in it. I decided to do that last second. So I said, this is just too much. Because I think that happened after I did the grayscale and I saw all this sorry, all this kind of stuff and this kind of textures. And you got equal things like this going in here texture wise. when you have a lot of textures like that, it's just very chaotic and confusing. So we're gonna get rid of those, and you can see it works without them very easily. So we don't need them. But what I want to show here is, yeah, the values on this painting. Definitely, man, we are really pretty low here. We're really nines and fives to tens, pretty much in this whole range here. Yeah, we got a few spots, that are brighters, maybe twos and threes, if you have to, but they are just little spots. So I always say, if it's just going to be that one spot, like this area here, that would definitely be up here in the 1.5 range. It's pretty bright, but since nothing else in the painting, though, it's too bright. So we could at least drop it down to 2, 3s, maybe. It's going to stand out by itself because there's nothing else white, in the painting. So it's going to jump out at us with that kind of temperature and look. So it doesn't have to be quite as bright as you think it is. It is in this spot, and no one will know. Okay, no one knows, just you and me. Okay, so it's going to be pretty dark. Values are definitely going to be in the mid range. Again, we're not going to be going too too bright on this. If we can take and like you can see back in here, in his back end here, and pretty much up to here, it's going to be kind of, there's not a lot going on back there. It's just the dark shapes, right? We just don't have to do a whole lot there. We'll just do 2 or 3 colors in those little areas, big, giant, dark areas, and you can be pretty much done. You don't have to do, hairs back there. I wouldn't be painting any hairs. Keep your hairs in any definition for the front area. Okay, let me get out of this one. Okay. As you can see, it can be very overwhelming. So let's go back to this one. Sorry. All right. So, like I said, we're going to be concentrating on this area here. Really pushing the face, pushing the fur, and eyes. Eyes part of the face, of course. We're going to make those things stand out. And then I'll show you, like, basically you're going to get a little painting course on how I paint fur a little bit. A few of you guys were at my workshop last week, so this should, resonate with you a little bit. But we'll go over it, and it should be fun. All right. Any questions? All right. Let's get out of here. Okay.
This one's going to sell. At least yours will.
I don't, you can't count on things. But it's an interesting one. It could be interesting. It could be a whole new avenue for somebody of, painting animals. Maybe, maybe it will click in. That's what you got to, that's why you got to try other things, painting a few things. Here's our palette, a regular thing. I got my trusty little palette knife. My colors are set out. I have just my regular set of colors. I have titanium white. I have cad yellow light and cad red light and cad orange. I don't have my cad orange out, but these are my money colors. These are going to be your more expensive colors. And if you want to buy really good ones of these ones, and the other ones, you can almost you know, you don't go student grade, but you don't have to be really expensive paints. But these, if you put your money into the cadmiums, you know, it'll make all your other paints great, especially these ones. These ones are a little bit lighter than everybody else, so they really brighten up my rest of these paints. I have, well, this is yellow ochre, transparent yellow ochre right here. It was on my, as you can see, I haven't really even used it. It was just, you don't have it. I was not on thing. I'm not asking for it. I'm just saying that it was already on my palette. I don't throw away paint. Here I have, this is orange ochre. Sorry, that was also on my palette. Sometimes you paint dog fur. Orange ochre might be a good one for this lion. Okay, I mean, you're going to find it can be just a little bit of orange or yellow into it. You're going to get a lot of probably lion colors. Another reds, warm reds would be really great in this painting. This other one is oxide red light. Really nice warm red. It could be Terra Rosa or Venetian for those people who still have a lot of Venetian left over from my other classes. Over here we have alizarin crimson, rose madder deep if you are you know, rosemary person. Cobalt blue hue by Utrecht. That's my big paint here. Definitely a dark blue, more blue than darker than you can usually get on a lot of stuff. Phthalo green on the blue shot side. They say blue shade here on the thing. Great color. We're going to be using a ton of that. And so the last one is transparent oxide red. I'm going to start saying it's burnt sienna for you guys because I found out in that workshop last week that, you know, transparent oxide red and oxide red really get confusing, even in a workshop. You know what I'm saying? Transparent oxide red is a lot like burnt sienna. Really close. You could interchange it. Difference is this just a touch more yellow than burnt sienna. You know, and just so I just gonna go with that. So, but I'm just gonna start I'll try to just call for you guys. If I say burnt sienna, you know, I mean the transparent one, the oxide red.
Hey, Jim.
That might not work.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hey, is transparent oxide red, let me rephrase. Is burnt sienna as transparent oxide red?
Yes. Yes.
It
They
is,
are both.
okay.
They are both transparent colors. Burnt sienna, burnt umber, any of these phthalo greens. This blue is transparent. That's why I love it. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Right.
And the alizarin are all transparent. Everything else just gets a little heavier.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll try that. You guys tell me if it gets confusing, and I'll just go back to it. But if you can think of that, I'll say burnt sienna. I probably won't. I'll spend too many times I've said it, but we'll try. You know, you guys are my guinea pigs. Okay, brushes. Definitely we want some big brushes for this one. Big brush, the better, right? So I have my big cheap brushes, and I got some really nice synthetics. Paint eraser in case we need it. And bristle brushes. I got a variety of bristle brushes. I got a few more over here. Big ones. Bigger the better on these guys too. I'll show you why in a few minutes when I do a little toning of the canvas. I'll do it with my bristle brushes for you. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using. Goes over there. Synthetics I'll put down here. Don't need my eraser yet. Okay. Oh. Making sure got all the oil off this. Good and clean. All right. Well, let me make sure this is up. I can see it. I got my monitor over here. I'll be looking at for color, but you know, a lot of dark colors. I think the photo itself came out a little green, a little bit. So watch that. That could be just because of the shade that's falling on them, the dapple light, a little transparent, foliage, just making them go green a little bit. Color wise, okay, let's get busy. We need some darks, really nice warm darks. We need some cool darks for this back end here. Definitely it's the way I gotta go. I would love to stay away from just using phthalo green for painting. Maybe I'll pick out something that doesn't have phthalo green in it next time. But these are going to start off with phthalo greens and alizarin. Making two. One on the red side, the alizarin side. So we get a nice. This is why I do this color. It gives me this purple that is going to be really close to what is in here. It's cool, and it's cool, and it can be warm at the same time. And this other one, the phthalo green side of it, it's just such an interesting green. And it just, I just, think it's makes such a nice color. So we get those guys. Those are the cool sides of phthalo green and with the alizarin. The warm side, I'm going to do a few warms. A lot of warm colors in here. Put out again some green. Again, oxide red. Regular oxide red. Definitely we can get it on the, you're going to say get it on the red side for this area back in here. This is a beautiful warm green or warm red brown. Definitely keep one on the green side. So this one I'm just going to push a little bit darker so we can see a difference. Right now they're too close. Are looking. So if I push this one greener, that'll be great. Now I can use it in the back. It's going to go back way back in here a little bit. I'll need some other ones. I'm sorry guys, I'm just going to be using a little bit of phthalo a little bit for this painting. Don't put out as much phthalo for this next color. This other color we're going to be using is burnt sienna. Really transparent oxide red, but it's now become burnt sienna on my painting, my palette. If you didn't understand what I'm saying, it's really, this is burnt sienna. But look at that. That's beautiful. Look at that color. You can see it light thin. When you see it thin, you can see, that can go all over this painting. We did a work in my workshop last week. We did a horse painting where we started off with burnt sienna or this color and did it for brush strokes. And then we wiped down the canvas so we had a nice toned canvas. And then we just went back in with burnt umber for a little warm up drawing. And so we had some really nice paintings come out of that. We had people who cheated and used a little bit of color, but we're not saying anything. We're not going to say anything about that.
Bunch of cheaters.
Bunch of cheaters, I tell you. Okay. That's pretty much almost everything we could use in this painting. I mean, we could make this painting easy pretty much with these colors. But I do need a couple warmer ones. Little bit of phthalo again. And cad orange. You're going to want one on the cad orange side. Probably more on the cad orange side on both of them, really. You know, so we can get a few of these guys, this warmth in his face to come through. So cad orange. This one's on the green side, I would say. So the other one would be almost pure cad orange. And just a little bit of this. Sorry, it's just, I can always add more phthalo. I just want to tone this orange just a little bit, you know, to get it into this area. And then when I add some white to it, I think it's going to be nice. It'll be perfect. I'm going to do the same with cad red, because cad red sometimes is the color here too. So heavier on the cad red, just a little bit of phthalo, and you're going to get these red browns. Again, they look like these guys, but they're a little richer. It's really good to know that, to have your cads and your oxide red here. You know, this is almost comes off of this. This is like the almost pure part of the family on this color, except for it's really rich. It's really high. You know, you really can see the higher key richness come through.
Are you adding that cad red to green?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of green. And I was just going to add, just make it a little bit greener on this one side. They always make such an interesting kind of brown. So that's what I was looking at. This one might have, I kept talking and adding green to this one, or red to this one. So I'm going to gray it up, green it up. So I got a little bit of color plays there. All right. What we're going to do are these colors, bring them down value-wise. Like you said, if you look at this painting, yeah, it's really all really dark. Really, I mean, if I go for like a fur in the middle, I would say, yeah, 8s again. 8s, let's go 8s. So I'm going to split these piles, go to an 8. In between piles, wipe your knife. So I'm just going to add a little bit of white to these pieces, and then we'll mix up a few specialty colors. Not, probably won't be too many, because I think we're going to get all the colors we need out of these. So, you know, like the white here in his chin, you know, might have to, but we'll see. So some of these guys are already there. So these guys I'll probably will, the lighter ones here, these oranges and the cad reds, I'll probably take those up to probably about 4s. But these other darks, I'm just going to add enough white to get to a value of about 8. Right now, that's probably a 9. Yeah. Don't want to blow past it too much. Yes, I hear more. There we go. It looks a lot lighter than it is. I always look at these colors and I go, yeah, they look, just because of the dark, how dark these other ones are. Purple here. Not too much. I'm going to keep that one dark, I think. I'm looking at back fur for for these guys here, a little back in here. These guys too, that, I'm gonna be using a lot of the dark colors underneath to get the darkness of the painting. And I'll come back with these guys to get the insides. So this one's close, but just probably one step off. Still really dark. And I can adjust these a little bit too if I need to add more red, more green to them. There we go. Oh, that's definitely feel that. I knew that was good when that came out. You could see where that is all over his back. So that's Cad Oxide Red, light and green. Phthalo green and white really gets close to that back color. Okay.
Wait, I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
I forgot what on the top row, what the far to right are.
These two?
Yeah.
Cad Red, light, and phthalo green. Mostly
Okay.
Cad Red. Mostly Cad Red, just bringing in the phthalo, kind of like we did with the orange.
Yeah.
Very, very, very,
Just a
light.
little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
no worries. Like you said, everybody, ask me questions anytime. There we go. That color I figured was going to hit a little bit better than that, but it's in there. It might even look better. It's a little bit better on my monitor than this. This one lightened up a lot. I'm going to darken it. Oops, there goes all my color.
What is that again? That's the phthalo green and the
Burnt sienna.
burnt sienna. Okay, I don't
Burnt
have.
sienna.
I don't think
Or
I have burnt
Transparent oxide if you have it. You got transparent oxide?
sienna. Hard for me to find it. I've got a lot of paints here.
Okay, how about do you have burnt umber?
Yes.
Okay, you can use burnt umber with a little bit of probably cad orange or into it. I think that might work. Get you, or it might be cad red. One of those, either one. You're gonna get close as long as you're using it throughout the painting. Yeah, as that, your painting will hold together. So again, here, this is supposed to be that and a little bit of phthalo green. It's a pretty, Ooh. Any farther and that will not be brown. Okay. I said that one went up a little bit too fast. Okay. Like I said, these next colors won't take much. They're going to go to more about the 3-4 range in values with white. Pretty much when you start to use the same amount of white throughout this thing, these guys are definitely going to go up. That's going to be a little rich. Oops. Had to take that over there. You can see this color right here. That's an ochre. That is definitely ochre. I mean, if we had ochre on over here, this is ochre. So, but this is a lot more powerful ochre than that. Can't help it. Let's try it. Got to get up there anyway. See, this is still, if you squint at it, this is like a 6 anyway. That's how dark that is. But that nails this guy. That's the reason I do these colors, because I know they were going to nail these guys pretty quickly. Cad red here and green on the really cad red side. Okay. That will marry into that fur really nice. Let's see the green side. Where green side, you can just just that little bit of green, just how much work it does. I mean, it just takes that color all the way off. Okay, this is great for the cooler sides of the fur. So we got the cool sides of the fur, we got the warm side of the fur. Transition from shadow colors to brights. That's why I'm looking at these things. These work out really well. These guys, everything can probably go up. I won't need much of everything to bring up, but you know, I think pretty much the only things I need is a few grass greens, and I can find. I think I got enough greens here. Just add a touch of yellow to. I should have all my greens, so I'm gonna just take a couple pieces of these guys down, and then we're gonna take and whiten these guys out again. It's gonna be a simple kind of painting here. So I'm just gonna add cad yellow to each one of these guys, probably half and half. See if I can get where it goes. You know, I figure I'll get one of these grasses out of here. Oh, the thing about green, sometimes it gets really Kelly green really easily. So always add a little bit of red to it. Knock it off. There you go. That nails a lot of the darker areas. And that was alizarin and green. So the red was in there with from alizarin. This one's with oxide, transparent or regular oxide. And it gets to be a little richer green. And I can probably just add yellow to that. It'll be good. This is on the red side of that. And you're going to get more of a, you know, deader green, but that's definitely in there. Tips, and that's about it. You know, that's really all the greens I need, but I did put out these other ones where I have green in. I mean, this is a burnt sienna and green. Just in case I need some brighter spots. Look in here and see if I can find anything green. All right. The last thing I need to do is pretty much get the lights. They're going to come from all over. I don't want to have. So since we haven't done too much here, let's just take a piece of these guys and take them up to about 3s. Because you can always brighten them up with more white, or if we need to. But I want to keep these guys, you know, a little bit dark, I would say. So half and half, you know, this is half the amount, half the amount of white. And get you pretty close. That's more of a 4. Real close though. That one did not listen to me. So decided it was just going to go right to a 2. But you never know. I don't really see it in too many other places, so I'm going to leave it kind of a little bright. It could end up as my cool in my in this thing. So this is the green side, as you can see. So there are a few, even you don't think it's in here, there are a few areas it could end up. I might just put a little more, a touch more green into it. It's just a hair gray to me. I'm just scratching a little more phthalo into it. Get her just to push it off the pure gray side. It's kind of like a warm gray. And I'd rather have it be some color showing into it. So that's why I was just putting just a little more phthalo into that color. Okay. This is all going to be all over this painting. You can see it in the dark shadows and stuff. That is a 5. So if I lighten up a piece of that to say 3, should be good. You see both those are 5s. So same thing here. And for you guys too, I spread these guys out a little bit for you guys to see. If you needed to do them just like this, lay them right, just take a piece of them and put the next color in. You can save a lot of space too. See, this is what I was gonna get into here, just a little light. This is the oxide. No, this is burnt sienna and green with 3. Yeah, maybe not that side of it. Maybe it'll be the red side that'll hit. It's going to be in there. That's going to be in there. You can see it in a few spots, on top. So it's a top color. When you layer your colors, this would be like one of the last colors you use. Like I said, these guys are going to do probably the yeoman's work throughout this painting for really defining the painting's face and everything. Definitely in there. Might be just a hair light. That's just a little more color back to it so it doesn't get, so I can get it in there. That one might, I'm gonna just one more step, one less step. Just bring it back a little bit more. Always add more white. Always add more white. Let's see. This is the red side. Oh, this is Cad Red and Phthalo Green. These two were Cad Orange and Phthalo Green. Mostly orange again from up top. Just don't want to be too white. That's going to get down low on the outsides, the cooler sides. This one should be nice gray touches. Okay, the last thing we need to do is like chin parts, a little brightness, getting these areas here. So I added yellow to these guys. Let me see if I add tons of white to them. No. Okay. Basically, it's going to be ochre. If I go back here, what I said was ochre would be basically phthalo green and Cad Orange. I go back to these two oranges here and add white to them up to about, like I said, almost 2s, 1s. It'll be a nice ochre mix. That one's really warm. Oop, got a yellow in that. Okay, I'll leave that. Okay, you put this up here, and this is warm, and you can feel like not even close. It's the opposite. See how close that is? That's pretty close. That is a phthalo green and oxide reds mixes and white. So I'm going to try these cooler areas colors down here and see if I can brighten these guys up. Usually I always put a little dab of coolness into these areas. Now you can see that. I think it says it's red. So I'll go, it's gonna be the oxide side, the transparent, or that transparent. Here we go. Just a little off-white. So it's the phthalo green and oxide, the red light is really the colors for that. Now we'll turn a little pale. All right. Oh, it's nice to have the worms too, because sometimes the worms you can put on the face and stuff. I'm also going to do these guys here a little bit. Little teeny pieces here, more red showing through. These are really kind of orange, yellowish. You know, had a little more peachy type of colors here showing through, just for little things around the eyes, or you know, maybe on the lips and stuff too. Yeah, so we will see. This is what we're going to war with on this painting. We get started off, and if you have any questions, you know, still shout them out. Phthalo greens and alizarins here at the beginning. We took them down to an 8. The green side, red side, and then took them down to probably about I was thinking, yeah, these are 4s, about 4s. Here we have, we have oxide red, light, and phthalo green. Beautiful, rich colors. I mean, those guys are so rich. And then you add just a little bit of white. This is red side, green side, bringing down to mid range here of 4s. And I took them up to about 3s, and I even took them up here to about 2s, just because of when I get going in the highlights. There's not many. We'll take care of it there, color wise. So I just want to have a few to play with, to arrange, goof off with. Okay, transparent. Well, burnt sienna in phthalo green, burnt sienna, aka transparent oxide red, mixed down with white, and just again with white, and then over here with white. No, these guys came from here. Okay. Here we have cat orange and phthalo green. These two. This is just a little bit of cat phthalo green in it. This barely has any phthalo green. It's basically almost cat orange. Just a little bit of phthalo, just to knock it off key. If you made this one first and then put orange down and took a scratch of this, put it in there and mix it, and that's pretty much about the mouth. Coming down with white, coming down again with white, coming again down here with white. So you can just see it just getting brighter and brighter. Down here we have on the reds, cad red and phthalo green. A lot, just phthalo green is my dark on all these guys today. And bringing them down with white and more white and more white. They're just all different colors. I mean, even just adding white to colors just makes them a different color. Really changes them up a lot. I took all these greens here up top here to about over to the orange and brought them down here, and I added just yellow to them, just a little bit of cad yellow to them, just to get a bunch of greens for grass type things. And maybe I can find, no, there's a little dot of green I can find to put in these guys, this guy's face somewhere, that kind of thing. Then I high keyed again a few colors here. I think these are the cools over here. These are right here, from here really high, pretty much all the way to about 2s, and a few of these guys down in here. Red ones over here for sure. Got a little yellow in that one when I grabbed white, so that's why this one turned so yellow, cad yellow. All right, I am going to tone my canvas. I'm gonna tone it with burnt sienna. Okay,
That's what I picked.
well, why don't you just call it out then? I'm gonna tone it with that and just some safflower oil, my medium. So just use a little bit of that and that together, and do a thin coating of this. All right, let me turn my stuff back on, and we'll get going. Okay, I'll bring this in as close as I can. And still get my feet in. Yeah. Second. Sorry, my studio's a little packed right now. Getting some big paintings out of the way, and everything had to get shoved over to one side to give them space to dry. There's nothing worse than having a big painting done and having something make a mark in it. So I did that. Okay. There you go. There's a guy. I'm going to shove him in over here. Tilt this a little bit more so you can see that. Okay. All right. Here we go. Big brush, big ideas, right? Now, I'm just going to tone it first, and I'm going to do a couple strokes for you. Tone it. Basically, good to clean out all my leftover colors in this paint in my brush here coming out now. Now this color you can see, background, almost thinned out, really comes close to what we need. So if we're lucky, maybe we can use some underpainting here to do some work. You know, you don't have to cover everything in the canvas. Sometimes you just have a touch to it. So that'd be a nice little vignette right there for a painting. Get rid of some of this. Okay. I'm gonna take a bristle brush, like I was mentioning with the for about, bristle brush is gonna be pretty much heavy duty in this painting. Little things, strokes, come in handy to know to do. So I'm just gonna use again just my transparent oxide burnt sienna mix color, and show you a few things like up here around his head, top of his head. those strokes are basically pushes with the brush. That's what they're going to end up being at the end. Pushes with the brush, and I let the tines open up on the brush and let that, do a lot of things. Also, the other strokes, when you get down here to the mane and things, sometimes you want to do this, just twist your brush, bring it down, twist your brush off, or flick it. You're gonna bring it down and then just flick it off the end, twist and flick, right? So you get that little teeny points at the end. Another one just a spikes to create fat to thin. You want to be able to do spikes just by twisting your brush. That's all you have to do. Back in here and down in here. So those are your key little brush things, and it's just twisting the brush. It's not, making sure you don't do the same stroke over and over and over again in the painting. Gets very monotonous and boring. So those are little things I do. And they'll pay off for you. All right. Before I draw it in, just for a few folks who already have it drawn in, good crayons. I was thinking, like I was saying, looking at this background and seeing where it kind of blows out the directions of lines coming, kind of bursting from behind this lion. And that's what I was thinking about playing with here. Just that just got a little bit of color in my thing. That was a little green in my transparent oxide or burnt sienna. So just putting in the dark background in first before I draw it in. Then I'm going to put it in kind of thin too. And try to let the back in here become those little areas, just let the light of the canvas show through. So if I am using, I'm going to go to phthalo green and oxide red light right now, because I saw when I put it in here, I saw it into this face. What I want to do is just wanted to make it feel a little haphazard. This is on the green side. No, this is on the red side. No, this is on the green side. Sorry. And I'm just going to feel where that head's mane's going to be right in here. And just darken in these areas here a little bit with it. Before I, dive into the rest of the painting. This is just a little underpainting. I want to get in here before I dive into the drawing. I want to have just a little play going on before I get going. All right. All right, now I'm going to draw it in a little bit, and then nice thing is I kind of got it dark, enough dark that when I pull things out with my paper towel here, I should be okay. I mean, it should make sense. So I'm thinking about, you're definitely going to be on this side of the painting. I want to keep them close to this edge. Probably about, for me, this is a 12 by 16. Oh, no, I'm not 20. It's a 16 by 20. keeping his head over to here, just a little bit of, his mane comes over into this area right in here area, his paws. Not worry about his paws, not worry about that stuff. Just getting where his head's going to end up being. Thinking about that mane coming up here. Definitely want to keep it, at least an inch and a half. Say, don't want that mane to go too much higher than that. I want to keep it down.
Sorry to interrupt. Have you guys been painting for an hour?
Yeah, where you been?
Oh, it's this bloody time change thing again. Are you on summertime now?
Yeah.
Oh,
We
we don't
leave-
go to summertime until, I don't know, the end of March.
Oh, we went in the middle of March a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to be behind. I'll try and catch up.
Don't worry, we have it recorded. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. I should have
Oh.
checked. It catches me out every 6 months. You'd think I have learned, but I didn't.
That's weird. I know I was kind of thinking about that with the time change, but you made that other class.
I know,
Well,
because
very-
October's easier than March, I think.
Yeah. So
Oh, well.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys, for the interruption. I'll knuckle
No,
down now.
It's okay, Allison.
Okay.
All right. So I was thinking, keeping it about an inch and a half, maybe a little bit under, right around there. His head there, maybe about 3 inches over here on that side. His head just basically he's taking it as kind of look at that angle. Usually a lot of times I'll do is I'll hold my brush up, and get, to the photo here, catch the angle, and just kind of, if you can bring it over and just lay it down, it kind of tells you the angle to kind of you're going to be going at. You'll get you close. I might have to go up and down a little bit and figure out I want his head about at least there. I want it too, I want his chin and head above, feeling above the halfway point of the canvas. So this might come up a little higher. I can't have that. The ear has to be right here. So, okay. Tough little thing on this painting is that dappled light, jumping into this little drawing area of trying to figure it out. He has fur coming, everywhere. Really, it's right up here to his muzzle. You got this fur coming in all heavily duty up here. But that little swing there, right there, goes almost right to the back of his eye. I wish I knew the proportions, a little bit better on the lion. I could tell you, exactly, how big the eyes are compared to the nose and things like that. But I just not there on this guy. So it's really just a matter of trying to see where things line up horizontally or vertically here, where the front is, where his nose is, what crosses over each other. And hopefully proportionally wise, you can stay proportional as you draw it out, it'll be pretty good. So I do know this comes back almost to his back mouth, kind of lines up with the front of his eye. So you get those guys, and then you can start to, off that relationship, start to get the distance, just basic drawing distances of things. That nose is huge, just from painting dogs. I know that, these things are always bigger than you think. So you come from his forehead, there's just a little dip after his forehead to get to his nose. It's just a slight little arc on that. And then it kind of goes down, but then it comes right back up and into a bigger arc for the front of his nose. It kind of just crosses over this is going to be like a Walt Disney lion, I think. So trying to get this little area here, that little bump around his nose. Coming in. Then into his mouth. I can just get that in there, how far that is. Then where his lips and his nose just split right here, this little line that goes up from where his lips are right here, that little match where they meet up right here, kind of goes right into that nose, starts the nose. Okay. Just a little bit of a shadow, then his little goatee. Yeah, listen, when we get to the colors, I'll let you know if you want me to tell you what the colors are, I can run through those for you again. Because the drawing on this thing is probably one of the things that are gonna take the longest.
Yeah, that would be good with the colors. I'm looking at the palette now. I can kind of guess some of them.
Here's your test. You tell me and I'll tell you if you're right.
Let's see. So phthalo green.
There, you're right.
Let me
Phthalo green was the color we pretty much used for almost everything. Every color.
but I can't see the second color on your palette, the purpley one. No.
These two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phthalo green and
Alizarin.
alizarin. Okay. Right.
You have alizarin over there?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's the blue shade of phthalo green, right?
Right.
Yep. Okay.
That will make a difference.
And then the browns was phthalo green and burnt umber?
Burnt sienna. Oh no, well, no. Transparent
Transparent oxide brown?
not transparent, just oxide brown light.
Okay, I don't have that one. But
Oxide red light. Oh, sorry, oxide red light. Or Terra Rosa. Or Venetian.
okay, so not transparent oxide brown then.
No.
Okay.
No.
And not burnt umber.
No burnt umber.
Okay. It looks like burnt umber.
It does, doesn't it? It does look like burnt umber. We were talking about the very top one, making that burnt sienna but it's transparent oxide. But I, since it's in my palette, I have the oxide red light too, and just switching the names, but really being transparent oxide, just trying to, stop
Oh,
confusing everybody.
I've got that, but it looks so much browner than that.
This one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
those two in the middle there.
yeah. Those are really heavy in the red side.
Okay. And that's transparent oxide red. I do have that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Good. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt everyone.
No. Just let me know.
Okay.
We needed a review. Thank you.
Yeah, they always do. They don't, they could use one. We're just going through drawing anyway, and that's, like I said, it was going to take probably a little bit of time here because it's being sort of a portrait and stuff. Portraits always take so much more time than anything else. Just drawing them out. And just see how that works. But we have had such a great class so far, I must say. All right. If you can draw this out, you can have, really do it. Be 3/4 of the way there. This is kind of a painting that, the background coming through like this. We're not going to be doing, you're not going to be doing a lot of detail, I think, which can, at least not in class, but, afterwards, we'll probably have to do a little bit of work, but I think, making sure the eyeballs and stuff are in the right spots is really nice to have. All right. And then get some darks in there too. Leave a little bit of this color behind. This is again just we use transparent oxide for this, so. I'm probably way too short on this nose. But I am drawing it at an angle, so it looks from over here, it looks right. I can always use that excuse. We always got to have our little excuses why, why it didn't turn out right or why it didn't look right at this stage. But I will have to make sure it looks right at the next stage. So, okay. What I'm going to try and do is leave as much mess as I can here. And, see if I can keep this kind of background like this, just that kind of little soft background feel to it. Leave that in there without doing too much more. I am going to go to the oxide red and phthalo green colors first. The very two. I'm going to bypass the alizarin first because I want to get this guy in a little bit deeper. And if I'm doing that here, I'm going to do it a few other places. I want to get this just into this top area a little bit heavier now with some real paint instead of just toning. So just a little bit of green in the oxide. And I can start to see what my drawing shapes are off, so I can come back. Take this into his mane, even a little bit into his mane, so I don't have to worry. Just finish out my brush over here. Uh, there's going to be some other colors, like it's going to have to go in. Okay, so I'm going to go now back to my first two colors, phthalo green and alizarin. Let me start with this is phthalo green side. It's really got a lot of alizarin into it. I mean, it basically it's not going to be, you'll see a little green in it, but it's not that much. But I'm going to put that in the front. The thing with phthalo green and alizarin, this is a kind of a weird color because the phthalo green comes forward with the alizarin, comes forward, where the alizarin and phthalo green on the alizarin side recedes in space. Very strange. Usually you always find reds come forward way before greens in your site. But the alizarin is a cool color. Being cool, cool red, becomes a purple when it mixes in with the phthalo green. And when purple and phthalo green comes before purple. So that's why it gets pushed back in here. So this is the purple side. Ooh, got a lot of green in my brush yet. That's going to be a little bit more alizarin in this color. There you go. And push that back. I'm also going to still going to bring it into this guy a little bit. Because it's really is into this guy a little bit, but really this green comes ahead of this color background. So that's why I wanted to just push that up a little bit. And again, these guys are really dark. Usually if these in this area, I usually keep it kind of thin, but it is really heavy in this back end. I'm going to use just thin out my brush here at the back into his back. This is again just alizarin phthalo green. Now it's more on the alizarin side, but it is a lot lighter. And it's just going to be, for his back here. And just fade that out. It's a big brush, just fade things out. Fade out the edges of the mane here a little bit. And that is nothing more than using the canvas as a color right here. Just a little less thinned out paint and pushing it around. Again, even down in here, you might want to use it in this area. I wish, I'm going to have to might not be able to get his paws in here right. I'll look. I'll be all squishing everything in just a little bit to be able to get his paws in. It's like his head's a little big in this perspective. So don't do what I do. Yeah, really. Shoot. Okay. If it turns out well, maybe I'll repaint it. It's not too hard of a paint, as you can tell. A lot of it is perhaps a little easy. It's a little just basic crazy brush strokes. Get a little darkness in, extra darkness in here and there in the background there. And that's about it. It's not a major thing. So just got to be dark enough on this side that I can pull out the lighter parts of the mane. And the same down in here. This area here has to be dark enough, darker than that. This is about the right value almost that's going to go in there. So this value on the opposite side of his mane here has to go a little darker. So there's definitely a more little on the phthalo side in the alizarin here, down in here. Again, if I use just thinned it out a little bit and bring it up. To this background. So the background basically at this point is, you know, on its way. I'll just use the orange from the background for that little stripe that goes through here in the back. So this just has to be a little darker than that though. A little darker. Yeah. There we go. So I'm sure when I want that background, I want it dark enough in the where the light areas of the lion are, you know, so against the nose, it's got to be darker than what's there. And then back in there, that's okay. There's the only place you don't have to worry about it too much is in the back here. Just let it go a little bit. So the light just kind of drifts up here, stays in here. Gosh, I really wish I would have made this head only about to here. 1 second. We're going to let, I did have it right about here. I'm just going to break it up a little bit smaller. Drew it up just a little big. I'm going to take and get rid of the nose. Push the nose back to about a thing here. A little bit smaller goatee. A little smaller this. So I get down here. Yeah, that's a little bit bigger. And then the eye is just a little smaller. Yeah, it feels better already. So I kept the height. I just wanted to move that. There's just a lot of little distance right here. I was losing that. I just didn't like. Seems like a lot of the inside drawing here was going to stay the same anyway. So that's my excuse. That's what I'm sticking with. All right. Now I'm going to go back to the green and oxide light. And I'm going to keep these thin now. I'm not going to what I was using in the background kept them a little thin too. Definitely want a little bit, I think I want a little more green in my red here, so it's not too bright. I'm going to keep it very thin, but I'm thinking like shadow areas around here. Things I see in the fur of that speckled light. Definitely right here above his eye. There's this one little spot here that comes in. And this is thin, so it's not like full power, but this is phthalo green and oxide red light, which is on the green side. Definitely want to get that there. There's a few other spots here. If you go around, there's a muscle right here on his cheek right here. It comes in and comes into his muzzle right about there. And this comes right to his teardrop. Okay. So just a little warmth there. So I'll use that phthalo green there. And then right here where back in here where his mane and his face meet, right in here. Just a little dark, but a little, I wanted a little bit of phthalo to show through. So that's why I'm putting this in here. I think the phthalo is going to come through a few colors here. So I want to get that in here. Other places, no, back in here, but a lot of stuff. Okay. So that's the green side. Also, it's going to be in his lip. I see it in his lip. Right under his nose, the shadow under his lip here. That goes back.
The green side of
Oxide red and oxide red. Phthalo green, oxide red. Yeah, it's the green side of that. Just seeing these things right in here, going around, just building up his cheekbone, the shadow on side on his cheekbone, and down here started on his jaw. Well, break coming down from his cheekbone area. Not sure if this is really his jaw, but if I'm going to go to the red side now, just work my way to the red side and see where that goes. Definitely, I was thinking about just putting in his eyeball with that color. Not his eyeball, eye socket, basically, with that color. That warm red showing through.
red and green.
Red and green, mostly on the red side. This is really what I'm thinking about for the tear ducts and for the shadow part of that eyeball. You know, getting that in. So you can just see that just these two colors. And then right underneath him, like I was talking about the cheekbone, I painted a little green on the back edge of it, but I want to put a little bit of warmth on this area right there. Going into and coming out here, this other piece right here from the corner of his eye, there's just this little thing here around the muscle. So this area is going to be light, and the red's going to come through here. I have the green behind it a little bit. So the red will pop forward, the green's going to recede. So that's what's going to, help create shadows and start to bring in shape. So I'm looking for warm areas that come forward a little bit. So maybe on the nose here, right around these areas. Especially right above the eye, in the eyelid, right the crease of the eyelid. That's right behind this thing. There's a little line from here that goes around to the back edge here. Making sure you get that warmth, the red in there. I might even go push the red just a hair more. Because the creases, I mean, these things just scream out warmth right here. In his nose too. If I did that, I could paint his nose inside the nostril. I mean, not really nose. Start that inside the ear. That's almost too red, but that, I put a little green in, I don't push it right back in the right spot. Okay. So one of the key little things is always to look for the red in this painting. I think you're going to find red, a warm red coming around his mouth here, the bottom lip into the starting the fur. You know, anywhere you're going to get light hitting this guy, look for some warm red between the light and the shadow. You're going to find a lot of, if that's going to be like, you know, if you find that, do those right. A lot of times the key is going to be, you know, that's going to add a lot of sparkle to the painting. That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
But not likely.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, hey, I'm just, you know, I got to hedge my bet. You know, we got to go, hey, could be wrong. Anyway, this so far, you know, this is pretty much it's starting to turn, starting painting. You can start to see the darks. Definitely want to just go as far as I can with these two colors. You're going to find out. Might even start to add a little more darkness to it, a little more. When I say darkness, I mean talking about alizarin and alizarin and phthalo green into my that color, just to get a little more dark, make it a little dark because you can see how light it is just by adding a little bit of the mix of the phthalo green next door to the palette into this color here. I can get like almost a black-ish color here that will I can come back in and tone these guys down just to hear more. Definitely behind the ear. Look at that behind the ear, how dark that is. And that's the thing about the alizarin and phthalo, very on the cool side. You know, so if you can come back with an oxide on top of it or something like that, right? Like behind the ear and stuff, you can add some warmth to that color, and you can steal the darkness of that that phthalo and alizarin. But then just by adding just a hair warmth. And another thing about this, I told you, didn't, you know, just those little brush strokes we're talking about up front. Those brush strokes only work if you leave space in between your brush strokes. To get those brush strokes to, you know, just to read, you know, so you're just, because they do get very chaotic together. So that's why I'm leaving, just going back in and just before I get to that point, make sure my darks underneath here are dark enough that they're going to help separate out the layering of some fur that's going to come in here at the end. It was just a little bit. I think you get his. It's going to go up a little higher anyway. So. Just keeping things just a little clean as I go. There we go. That's what this brush does. It's just a beautiful, like it's like a fan brush. But you know, I don't really use fan brushes. But that's probably, if it was going to be a fan brush, that would probably be it. You know, we'll do that same sort of thing. Okay, that's starting to, at this angle, it looks good. All right. I'm going to go to a bristle brush now. And we'll start to lay in the back. One of the things you want to work dark to light on your fur. So we're going to be working back in here with first with the darker midtones. We're pretty much into the midtones already on this painting. Yeah, I could have went with there are some phthalo greens and transparent oxides here. Or burnt siennas that I was working on with over here. But I'm going to save those. I might have to come back with them, but I don't think I'll need them for the fur. I want to get the fur done first. Work that fur. So everything from behind the ear on over, pretty much, going to be a mid-tone. So I'm going to look through here and find a few purple mid-tones. I tell you, I'm looking at it, I might not have. I'm going to go back here a little bit and cheat my purple blue, my purple alizarin and phthalo green. I'm going to cheat it to a lot more alizarin into it because it just went. Now that I'm at this stage, I can see that really both these colors should be just a little bit more on the alizarin side. So I'm going to push the alizarin back into both these guys. So I'm still going to be like a slight cool blue purple, and the one's going to be really more on the red purple. Sorry about that. I'm going to go with the red purple first because I was seeing that on this back edge. That's going to be a simple stroke. Like I said, I got a little oxide in here too from my sketch. I'm going to lay my brush basically flat on the canvas and just pull it. I'm going to pull it this way. I want to leave the sharpness of the brush tip on the back edge of the mane, and then just pull it this way and let the paint come off. I lay this thing closer to horizontal with with the canvas. I can lay almost the whole brush tip, whole brush body down on the canvas, and then let the tines just open up and pull it down, and just very gently pull, just barely touch, and let the paint just come off. And that's pretty much it. So I can do that. That's the top, that area. I do the lower area down in here, same way. Just a pull away from it. Now I come up here. And pull a couple up here.
Jim, is there any white in that?
There is now, yeah, we are in the midtones. This is like number
okay.
8s. So it has
Okay.
just a hair of white.
Okay.
Yeah, just a hair of white. And that was the purple side. Now this is going to be the green side, which is still purple, but it just has a little bit of green in it. I want to get the very front edge of the mane, and maybe even try and put some over here. Again, very gentle. It's just like basically this brush is barely touching the canvas. So these tines just open up a little bit. Just looking around, seeing anywhere else I could go. All right. This midsection here, there's not a lot going on. There's just, if you want to run a couple little strokes through it, that's okay. But I don't give it too much. Just let it, be quiet, because it's one of those areas that you need this. The rest of it's going to be so chaotic stroke wise. You need that little area here to be quiet for the painting as a place to rest. That's where the background rests. There's a few dark areas here too, on the back end here, that don't get much information. So, all right. So that's really, I tried to figure out as much as I could back in here. I'll be going now to the green oxide and oxide red light, phthalo green and oxide red light with white. Again, number 8 level. And it's going to be pretty much the same stroke, same idea, same stroke I used down there for most of this back area here. It's pretty much that stroke. You know, just laying it flat, matching it up where it comes on here, and just, you know, laying the brush down, giving a little pressure and then releasing the pressure. What I'm trying to do is create light. I might bring that down. You're gonna find that maybe in there. Okay. And you can find it down below. Almost right where I put that blue purple on top of that. Goes almost right in front of that, almost, you know, touches it. I can bring that into the bottom of his mane. I look for strokes. I look for 3. There's 3 strokes here. There's 1, 2, 3 strokes there. That's the first one. The next one's, you give it a little space. And the third one kind of comes up a little short and into it. It was a little tight. And the thing about this, when I put strokes in, for especially when I'm doing fur, you know, just that little space. And if you don't get the perfect stroke, that's fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, you know, match up perfectly, but don't go over it again. Just let it go. You got a lot of strokes to be laying over here. Now I'm going to go to the red side. This phthalo green and oxide red light with white. And that color should get me a lot of this on the outsides of the fur coming in. You know, this is pretty much the same thing. I'm just going to angle my brush a little bit more and let it come off. And just think of this fur as how it gathers a little bit, you know, in points and areas. This is a little dark, but they'll be fine. See, right now, that's finally it's a little bit of buildup too. You need of, you know, for these colors to start laying over each other and showing through. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of buildup to make that this color back in here come through. So just those 2 colors. The next colors are going to be kind of pretty much going to go over them. And all I'm doing is basically going through and looking for directional pieces of fur. What direction that fur is coming, you know, the strokes coming from. It's a little dark up here, this mane here. Little by little. Just little groupings of hair. Now I'm just working the face a little bit with this color. You're going to find this color into the mid rounded around the cheek bare area of and again, it's just going to be soft little pulls. It's not going to be like heavy color. I'm going to try to let this background do some work here. So I'm not going to go heavy. Let this background show through the painting in here. That just gives this fur so much life, so much thickness and thinness. Even when I'm going to start here and just, areas here like where I'm going to, you got a little bit of dappled light coming through here. Definitely this green and oxide with white is really close to what I need. I'm finding that even up here in his face, up in here. A bristle brush is also fabulous to have here, because that, just leaves pretty much the perfect stroke, the perfect feeling of hair. Especially when, see, not when you overpaint, not when you have too much paint on your brush, but when I can let some of this background show through. You guys probably didn't even see that, but I did. Just letting the green and stuff play here a little bit. Okay. See, I still consider this kind of like the underpainting what I'm doing here. Even though some of this could be the painting. I mean, could be into the final part of the painting. As you can start to see, it's starting to get there. Ready. I'm gonna look for this color here too. Back a little bit. There's a few spots back in here. I was thinking, I'm like, I guess that might be where I started it. Let's see. Okay, I got this phthalo green and transparent oxide, which I'm calling burnt sienna now. Burnt sienna. This is the green side. Boy, this is a little dark. I'm not seeing a little too green. Yeah, just a little bit, was just a touch too green. So I just a little bit more oxide burnt sienna into it. And that really, at an 8, is that color, could be that color. Just get the value. It's really the right value. It's the right temperature. It's really kind of can be in there. So I'm just going to take that. When you put that in, you start to see other areas that it relates to. And that's where I'm going to just look at these little areas here coming in here to break up this ear fur here. Okay. I'm going to mute people. Mute you all. That's the wrong one. All right, you're all muted now. Now you can't say a word. Okay, you have to unmute yourself. So this is just transparent oxide, which is burnt sienna, and phthalo green with white to about an 8. I'm just going to get a few spots, I think. Okay. And a lot of times this color just comes in just when you're doing portraits. And it just seems like a lot of areas like you're going over and over again. Just because it does get very kind of a little tedious about things, you could, and some of these colors are very kind of close. Seems like it's just, it's a slight temperature change of a little bit brighter, lighter, and it just always just, this just gets, we said, just tedious. Again, bristle work, bristle brush, letting that come through. Nice. Okay, that's working out pretty well. That was just transparent oxide, or like I said, burnt sienna-ish. And I don't know if that's really going to work. It's just like I was already saying it. But that's a really great color. Those two colors with the regular oxide red light and green really can almost do this whole painting. I mean, just lighten them up and stuff, because this color has so much light in it and warmth. Come along really nice. Well, could end up being wrong. Who knows? Okay. Again, clean my brush out of that. I'm gonna go to the red side of that. This painting will start to finish up really quick. We're getting to the lights right now. And these colors, you're gonna find one of these colors is gonna pull this whole painting together. I try not to rush the painting and jump to that color. If I think that there's a color that's gonna pull the darks and the fur and everything together, be the like a master color in the painting. Even if I think I know, have a good idea of which one it is, you gotta, follow through with all the layering of colors, or it's just gonna end up being flat. And so just get the colors in. You'll find out some colors are just going to really fill this painting up quickly. And that's where this one pretty much is that kind of color. But again, try not to get rid of all the background.
What color is that, Jim?
This color right now I'm using is basically burnt sienna and phthalo green on the burnt sienna, heavy burnt sienna, barely any phthalo green in it, and white.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I'm using. The others, the green side did a really nice job too. And like I said, I'm just letting the brush do all the work. I'm just barely laying it down. I just want basically comb this fur into place. Yeah, until you get to the light. Okay, now this area here, we got a little bit of light above there showing through on his mane, and this color is basically the color that's gonna kind of lighten up this back behind the ear, these areas here. So now I'm just gonna lay it in with a little more force. But the thing is, I want to start to create the shadow and the light on here. So, stopping it. There's going to be another couple degrees of light. But this is like the medium tone that's going to kind of dig in here and start to create that. Look down in here where I can find it. Oh yeah. This might not be that's this might not be the right value, but it's gonna be really close to the right color. And just a little bit light to it. Okay. Not coming through. Just a touch of oil. Grab the paint again. And you can get it to stick. Definitely when you get down into here, you don't want things to stick out too much. I mean, you got, you don't want the fur down in here to take away from up here. So when painting wet into wet, sometimes you need a little bit of oil, but you still got to keep that kind of feel of the same soft touch. So, and it's the only way to get the paint to come through. And again, just drag it and just twist your brush over these things a little bit. And that just builds up everything. It starts to give when you start getting these top layers like this. I added just a touch more white to my color, just because of, you can see back in here, just a little bit off brightness. So still got to build that up. Okay, but it's starting to show. Okay, this is going to switch over to Cad Orange and Phthalo Green. I'm just gonna. This is pretty much without white, but it's on the Cad Orange side. Definitely going to start to get into these lighter areas. This might be, this color with white in it, probably, like I said, be one of those magic colors here that are going to, get through this painting and things. So I am, again, just going to, knowing that I'm just going to not let it get rid of all my good stuff that's underneath. Now, definitely going to be a big player in the painting. Follow that fur. Okay, that one turned out did really wonders. Okay, this is the orange side of that. Now you're gonna start to see areas like start to get these ear tips up here. Really, you can start to layer, if you can, just a touch of oil. Grab that paint. When you put it in, it'll stick a little bit better. I'm gonna paint his nose with this too a little bit. Again, up here, I'm just going to start putting in underneath almost colors. Oh, it's close. It's close. When you flick it, flicks are going to be really important in this painting too. Flicking your brush, giving that, holding it here and just pulling it down. Probably got just a hair too big eye. Just push it back a little bit. This orange would probably be good right around his lip here and going into this fur here before you get to the white area, the big white spot there, the highlight. So definitely using a brush too big for the job, which is, okay. Really forces me to make a couple nice, my twists back in here, makes them really twist, which really adds to the stroke. Okay. Whites there. Okay. Got about a half hour left. Let's dig into a few more strokes here on the fur. Definitely that same brush. I might go with just a slightly smaller one. Still a bristle. Clean it. I think this next color, some of these reds, this next color I got red, cad red and phthalo green. And these are like the beginning. These are without white yet. And what I'm trying to do is where I see in these highlight areas down in here, where that red's going to be underneath and in here. Just I got a lot of other colors, but this red just warms up before it gets to the light. Warms up the light for the fur. So
What color is that, Jim?
This is cad red light with just a touch of phthalo green in it.
Okay, thank you.
And that is going to pretty much really work its way around the painting into from shadow to light. You know, you got places like underneath here, definitely could be that little bit of warmth right before it really lightens up the fur. And the bristle brush just puts it in, just, you know, you can push it in. Even at this stage, you can start to change some of the colors that I had in here. All right. Just a little bit, it might go around here, just see if I can clean up the drawing on his nose here a little bit. This color might be really nice for these little right here around his lip, or this little muzzle here area, this right before it goes into the light. You know, just there's a few, you know, especially around where his whiskers are, the holes and stuff, you could see just a little warmth in those areas. That would be this red here. Around the mouth. Getting those in now, and then the next color should, you know, fix these guys up a little bit. I think his nose just could go back a little bit. All right. Good brush would do that. Okay. So basically right there, went through our midtones. Now we're going to go on to our light colors. Now this painting should just make a pretty good jump right now. I didn't even put in the greens. I'm not going to worry about the grass and stuff for you guys. But now we have pretty much midtones are all in. Things just screaming now to finish me up with some little bit of light, bring a little light into it. So I'm going to come back.
Was there white with the red and the phthalo green?
Not these ones. No.
Okay,
Now,
thank you.
but now I'm going to look at those. This is the cad orange with a little bit of white. And I saw that little bit in just the tufts of his ears here inside. Just grab a little bit of paint on it. I think I can, there's a stroke here from his ear, fur-wise, comes down. Like I said, don't mess with it. One stroke. If you didn't get it right, don't worry about it. You got another stroke next to it. You can put next to it. Okay, that's worked out pretty good. This is, I want to look, I think it's just a hair too orange. So I'm thinking of this green side of it might be the bright color for everything. This is phthalo green, cad orange. Basically on the phthalo green side, but we're talking barely any. and with white to about a 4. And I'm just going to be doing just the highlights here a little bit. Oh, that was really at 3. Light at 3. The other one was at 4. Sorry. And I see that right above his tear duct and below it, and maybe right underneath his eye. There's that little well right there. Might go with the orange side above his eye. So this is green on the bottom, and then for the top part of the lid, you know, I might go orange, but that's a little bit too much white in it. So it's going to be a little more or less in between.
Is that just cad orange and white?
Add orange, touch of phthalo, barely any
Okay, thank you.
into it. Just a touch. Now I'm just going to reshape it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, phthalo is not showing up through that one. So at this point, you'd start to think about, you know, just these little areas, simple 1 strokes. Try not to do too many strokes. Let a lot of the stuff show through. Let all those colors you did to show through. You don't want to scrub it. So again, phthalo green and orange with white, finding that right mix. And with a bristle brush, just taking it and just letting it come off. Sometimes you almost have to lay it flat just to get the bristles to open up right. Says the reds, cad red, phthalo green, and white. Really red showing through here. I saw that right here because I put that other stroke in. I just when I laid it down, I said, "This is compared to what the photo is. I can tell that this color should have been on the red side, on a real red. So it's cad red. So this is cad red, little touch of phthalo in it with white. And it's going to be doing a lot of the fur underneath here, you know, where I lay it flat and just twist it down and leave space, come back in and put the next stroke. And usually I find these guys are pretty much groups of 3 strokes together. Just a little bit more red in this color right here. And as I keep going here, I'm going to start to get a few nice, really nice fur overlays. And here I'm just going to draw it right through the shadow color I put in for I get that dappled light. Basically the same thing. I did the top of this spot here. I did the top of it with a regular brush stroke, kind of just stopped right there. This one I might take from the bottom and take it up so the paint will come off at the bottom of the stroke. By the time I get up here, it'll be lighting up and I could just release the pressure and just tie the 2 together. And you can get that same sort of feel. You can get that dappled feel of light. So instead of going all the way through it, you go up to it and then take the bottom one and you let the bottom part of a stroke create it. So yeah, I was surprised that we still got a lot of light colors coming in here yet. We have, but as you can start to tell right here, you know, a lot of the stuff is starting to make sense. Like I said, that cad red coming in. One of the things I don't want to do is lose all my darks. It just happened so quickly. All right. So that's why sometimes it's better just to stop on keep going. You can be a couple strokes short instead of being a couple strokes over on fur. That's, you know, it just looks overworked really pretty quick. So now I'm just going to go back in here and just get a few spots in that. Okay. All right. Big bristles. No, we're not done with you yet. No. I'm going to clean it out, put the light in. Put the light in his mouth. Okay. So we're going to jump down to the light colors. That was the end of my thing. So I'm going to jump down to the real light. I might even switch brushes. This one might be too much color in it. Take it out right here. I'll grab a different synthetic or a bristle. All right. I'm going to put it in with yellow first. Well, and then when I get this part done, I want to see what you guys did. We should be getting pretty close here. So I'm going to go down here to a white yellow here. The tip of his nose. Come around here and do his lips with it. Maybe a little pink on this one, a little more pink on the back side. putting in with a bristle because I didn't want it to be perfect. I can clean it up nicely if I want, but I think sometimes, I'd rather have it a little bit, feeling it's made by a hand instead of too perfect. I'm going to go with a red white here. I'm using Cad Red Phthalo Green mix with white, pretty much down to, whatever brightness. I think it's 3s. And I'm just going to lay that in here. When I get here, I'm just going to flick my brush out and try to catch that feel. Caught 3/4 of it, so just add the rest in. I can use that down in here, a few spots. Follow that light line. It's really a line here too. You can see it from that tip. You see the line it makes. So just there is a and that's where one of these. This is like a crappy bristle. Where it's really almost at its done peak, So basically, it's good for scratching away color, laying in some color, but you said you get a lot of, get some bad with the good there. It might be good for this kind of little stuff up here, You start to put in the light. This again, phthalo green, Cad Red, touch of phthalo green in it. A lot of white. So this is just a gray touch of just a touch of red in it. And this is where, brush that's just kind of over the hill. It has a lot of busted up bristles on it. Just can give you that feel of, haphazardness into some of these areas. So it's got to be worked on a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. Really, it's pretty, I would say I'm pretty close. So I'm not going to rush it. But let's do the eye. I'll put that down. I'm going to grab a synthetic. I will grab a smaller synthetic. This is pretty small. I usually don't use too many small brushes, except for you have to do it around the eyes. I'm going to go back in with phthalo and alizarin. Now I'm going to go a little more Cad. Put a little oxide red into that too, so it just has a little warmth. And basically, I'm going to just paint right underneath his eyelid. Give it a little shadow of going in here. Getting a little shadow into the corner of the eye here. Basically, his eyeball starts just slightly past the corner of his eye. I'm going to put in his pupil, kind of a little warm spot, little teeny pupil. And then paint his eyeball. I tell you, I'm going to go with oxide red, transparent oxide red, and phthalo green on the oxide red side. Just a little bit of white. Probably, let's go with might go with about 8. Well, no, I'm gonna hit the bottom of the eye a little bit there. Maybe switch over to the warmer side of it for the front part of the eyeball. Okay, and come back and just push the two together. Highlight and put in with the knife. Definitely a red green highlight, more on the green side. But I put them in with a knife, like I say, they just go in a little bit bright. So I'm going a little bit darker than I think it should be. Came close. No cigar. Okay. There we go. Just a little bit big and honky. That's where eyes always take a lot longer to do. So I'll bring you in for a close up, and we'll take a look at your guys's. I'm going to go through this and look at it again in front of it and see what else I change. The nose needs to go darker inside the nostrils. And a little bit of tightening up to do on the nose ridge. But the fur is starting to come along on the back end and things. I don't know if you guys can see all that. But it's still some work to do. All right. It's that time, folks, where everybody who's painted will turn on their videos and mics, and let's see how you did. And we'll go from there. So who we have? Allison, did you paint it all?
I did.
Oh, good. Let's see what you did. You came in late. She's an hour late. Hour late. Let's see.
Yes, and you can tell by my mixes. So I really need to.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know. Your mixes, your drawing's fabulous. Great drawing underneath that. That's going to be fun, Allison. Yeah, your mixes are okay though. I mean, the thing is on this one, really, it's the phthalo green and the oxide red and
Mhm.
and the cad red and cad orange. Those guys are really build this whole thing, and getting the cools in like you did in underneath that fur looks really great. I really love the blues and the oranges showing through with the reds up front. They really, take you back into the shadows. Really nice. That's a heck of a drawing on that guy.
Well, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
really a
thank
great.
you.
It's a fabulous start for starting late. Just don't let it happen again.
No, it won't now. We're about to go on to the same time, summertime, which I
Okay.
love. I'd like to stay on summertime.
I know it keeps changing. I don't know why we change.
I know.
It doesn't do anybody any good anymore.
No.
Allison understands cats. That's why
Oh.
her drawing is so good, because the teeth that she has.
I
I
thought it
guess
would be brave enough to paint one because I think they would just be black. They're not black. So.
it's a
Mhm.
it's a really super start there, Allison. I
Beautiful.
like the size. It's a nice little teeny small size of a painting and stuff. That'll look really nice on the wall, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you for, choosing this picture. I hope I can do it justice. I'll have to watch the video and see the real mixes because I also missed
I
them.
know you've got you caught up quickly. That's beautiful. Good, congrats.
Thank you guys.
Okay. We'll go to Lynette and then we'll go to Anne Marie.
I'm
And
gonna
we got
hold it.
Deb
Hold it.
coming up and
Hope
Lisa.
you can see it better.
Whoa!
wow.
Wow!
Well,
You really nice pushes on that thing.
it's very mushy.
It is mushy, but it's the perfect time for it. I mean, your strokes are in the right directions going around his head. That's really nice. And okay, little things I like a lot of it. I mean, it's really good. Good job on the drawing and the colors and stuff. Now you just need a couple of those colors just to calm down a little bit. You got a little bit of the cool purples in the back and the front. Basically, those guys need to have a little more of the oxide side. They're a little bit on the sweet side right now. I'm looking at mine. Yeah, because you didn't get enough background showing through the dirt, darken up the purple, the alizarin part of it. So you might want to come back with the oxides and phthalo greens over some of those cool purples. On his back, you got right behind his mane, just a little bit too purple, and the same thing up front, on his front mane with a light on it. Just a little. I like some of that showing through, but it just calm it down.
Okay.
Because and then a little too perfect going around his head with the strokes. You need a couple that are, look for a couple that go a little bit farther than they do.
Okay.
Just a few, because we just basically you got like a circle going around his head, and we just want a few of those parts of the fur in the mane to break out of catch the darks and pull the darks into the light a little bit. So just a few spots, like 3 spots.
Okay.
Just to pull them out. You already have a few of the spots probably marked with the blue underneath. Just pull the oranges down there a little bit with those guys.
I had trouble getting your oranges.
My oranges.
Me
I think
too.
well, it's a weird little green that goes in there. Just a touch of green. Sometimes you might not even need it. Okay, and then in the face, watch the amount of white that you're going to end up with. I think it's just a little bit too much for underneath the eyes and that nose.
Okay.
I put it on there and I had to take it off because it was at I think I almost went at 2. Really push it back to 3s if you can, because it's just no colors reading really, because it's just I hear too much white in that area.
Okay.
But otherwise, fabulous.
Well, it was fun, and I knew I had to do it.
Oh man, you did have to do it. You did a great job. Keep working on that. I want to see that finish. And I like the way the background is interacting and coming into into them and stuff. So like on the mane and stuff on the top, a very top, leave it.
Yeah.
Leave that little light and stuff so you lose a little bit of it. So you have them kind of being part of the scenery too.
Okay. Yeah. I did a lot of finger painting.
You might, that's good. Use whatever you can. Get a stick in there if you can.
Okay. Thank you.
You never know. Okay. We got Mary Anne Marie coming up, and Beth or Deb and Lisa. So here's Anne Marie. She's going to turn on her video.
Anne Marie did not paint today. Well, I did actually. I started, but I had to leave the house, so I'm on the road right now.
I understand.
I will get back to it when I get home, and I will post it.
Promises.
Promises. I promise. Hand to
You did a great job last week. I mean, that bird you put out yesterday was fabulous. Great job on that.
Thank you.
Okay. So as long as you keep painting, that's all we got to do. Keep you painting, keep you out of trouble.
Right.
All right. Let's see then. We'll go to Deb. Deb, I know. Deb painted.
Can you see me? I don't have
Yeah, we got you, Deb.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's funny. You can, when you see something just turn over like that, you can tell it there is some good thinking going on in that face. I mean, nice job on that.
Thanks.
Really, you painted animals before or this line before?
I did a lot of wildlife, but mostly in pastel. So I haven't been working with oils all that long. The trouble I think I felt like I had today is your colors looked so much different than mine. I think my values were okay, but my purples seemed much more purple and my greens seemed much more green. So I've got, he's very colorful.
He,
So
he doesn't look too bad though. He doesn't. Well, we don't have a ton of light on him, but the values is where it's all at.
yeah.
And the values hide a lot of the colors like that, and it looks fine. You don't see the purple jumping out at you. You don't really feel that. You kind of just know that there's a space that color has is giving was, something about telling you something. That
Mhm.
I like that. I like that a lot. I don't, and I like the way the warmth of the fur is starting to, blend down into those areas.
Yeah.
It's nice and it feels very natural.
Okay. I'm thinking that, it's so wet right now, just letting it dry and then coming back in because I'm having fun with it. I certainly don't want to give up on it. And I feel like the bones of it are pretty good.
Right. I
Just
think
getting some lightness, into the animal, I think will help. But yeah, it was a great class. I loved it.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Thanks.
I was a little worried on this class because it was, it could go the wrong way pretty easy if this was going to be too hard to draw out or there's going to be too many colors. But that's the thing is there wasn't too many colors and the color combinations work together pretty much in a lot of different ways that you can be wrong and still be right.
Mhm.
Let's see, Lisa, did you paint? Lisa, your mic's off and Lisa's mic and video are off, so I don't want to go too much with the.
There you go. I'm sorry, I got the mic going.
Okay. Oh, there's your video. You want?
Oh, okay.
Well, why
Sorry.
not?
There
Okay.
you go.
Did you paint?
No, I didn't get a chance to paint today. I had a lot going on here at the house. I did get to see most of the video pieces of it, so I am looking forward to definitely doing the line. I've got it sketched on my canvas. I just unfortunately didn't get a chance to start it. So
No worries. No worries. That's the great thing about this class is being recorded and you guys can replay it anytime you want for as long as you want and stuff. So yeah, get to it. Just put them up on Facebook when you get done. We'll give you another critique.
that sounds great. I'm excited. Thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so I will finish this guy up a little bit more and I'll put him up on Facebook. You guys finish yours. Finish them up, put them up on the Facebook site. And, we'll see where we go. All right.
Thank you, Jim.
All right.
Thank you.
We will
Thank
see
you.
you guys all next week for another great painting. Ooh.
Yes. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.